Hello, everybody. It's October the 30th. I'm pre-recording this the day before Halloween. So happy Halloween. I didn't want a bunch of people knocking on my front door, and it's just not going to happen anyway because I've got both of my grandsons that are going to be here, and we're going to be walking them around. And Grandma, also known as Gammy, would be super ticked off if I did a podcast. So ain't going to happen. So I was lucky enough to contact my friend Chloe Ferem from San Diego County. I hope I pronounced that right, Chloe. From San Diego County Sheriff's Office, and she is a crime prevention person, and we're going to talk about that a little bit here in a little bit. I've had a really busy month, actually. My month has been from coast to coast, where I spoke in Palm Springs, thanks to Chloe. And from there, I spent a lot of time in Los Angeles, and I did a lot of things that I have never done before. For instance, I did a self-tour of Spawn Ranch, and I avoided all rattlesnakes. I didn't find a rattlesnake, but I know that they live there. And so fortunately, I didn't meet one of them. And I checked out that area, and then I went on from there, and I checked out the La Bianca house, which I had never seen before. That was formerly 3301 Waverly Drive, and then now it's 3311 Waverly Drive. I would love to get in that house. If you're the owners of that place and you want to invite me over for a little luminol party, I'm in. I know that it will never happen, but I believe me, I'm watching that house. If it ever becomes an Airbnb, I'm in for one night. And how cool would that be? But anyway, so I also went from there, and I also checked out the Wonderland murder scene. I did not inside. I was outside, but where the Wonderland murders happened, which is a movie starring Val Kilmer. But really iconic spot. I mean, it's a big deal. If you go to my playlist on my YouTube page, you can check out the crime scene video from that case. And if you listen very carefully, you'll notice that the voice that's narrating the crime scene video is Tom Lang from the O.J. Simpson case. So just another little interesting side note. I put up a couple of things, and I'll mention this real quick, and then we'll get to Chloe. But something happened while I was in California. I actually threw up a video on TikTok, and TikTok is a site that, of all of the social media things, I think I utilized that the least. It's like younger people, they're doing silly things on there. I can't do that where I work. I would never live it down. My coworkers they'd be talking behind my back more than they already do probably, and it would just be ugly. And so I rarely put anything up on TikTok, but I ended up throwing up one of the videos from just walking out there on Spawn Ranch and the thing at the La Bianca house. And then I got a message from a couple of people going, "Hey bro, you're going viral." And I said, "What? What do you mean viral?" So I literally looked at the video that I did in front of the La Bianca house, and I ended up getting 122,000 views on that thing. And I went from 500 followers to, I've got like 7,400 followers now. I can't even freaking believe it. And it was like in a week. So I've been throwing some other videos up there, and I've been getting some incredible numbers on views. It's insane. So if you want to follow my TikTok, go to @DET Jason White, and or just type in Detective Jason White, and it'll probably pop up. But I'd love to have you follow me there. I'm gonna put a lot more stuff on there since I'm getting a lot of views on it. It's really fun for me. So let's get to it. I don't want to keep Chloe any longer than we need to here. And I want to introduce you to her. She's really one of those people that I'm gonna call a shining star. She's probably going to be modest and say, well, I'm not really anything special, but she's somebody that definitely stands out to me. And let me introduce you to who she is. Chloe Ferem has over 14 years of experience in the law enforcement field. She began her career working at the Metropolitan. Working at the San Diego. Hang on a minute. I apologize. I'm getting stuff in my headphones. They shut off and then came. Career working at the San Diego Metropolitan Transit System as a transit enforcement officer, then went on to become a detention corrections deputy for the San Diego County Sheriff's Office. After 7 years, she became a crime prevention specialist for the San Diego Sheriff's Office and has been assigned to Vista, Rancho San Diego, and Major Crimes, Fraud, and Elder Abuse Unit. Most recently, Chloe Ferem became the communications and outreach specialist for the San Diego Sheriff's Office Media Unit, and Chloe manages 3 different social media platforms and continues to participate in community outreach and other special projects. Chloe is a member of the California Crime Prevention Officers Association, which, by the way, awesome organization. That's where I spoke, all due to Chloe. And she'd reached out to me and basically thought I would be a good fit for them. And they invited me out there to speak. I'm kind of getting off a little bit here, but they invited me to speak. And I tell you what, I don't think that I could have met a better group of people, and they were very a fun group. And then I went from there and I went on to the North Carolina Homicide Investigator Association, where I spoke there as well. Another epic group of people. But anyway, so that's where she serves on the board as secretary for Region 2, which happens to cover the San Diego and Imperial counties, which is in the southern part of the state. Chloe is a San Diego native and attended San Diego State University. Her first 2 years, she studied journalism and public relations, but then switched her major to pursue a career in law enforcement. Good for her. She's got a bachelor's degree in criminal justice as well as her paralegal certificate. And so let's welcome my good friend, Chloe. Welcome to the show.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Jason. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it is my pleasure. Literally, you're one of those people that walks into the room and you just got one of those charismatic, bright personalities that people kind of gravitate to. So I knew that you would be. Yes. And I think that most of those people that work in that industry, they're interactive with the public all the time. So they have to be bubbly kind of people. So, welcome, and tell me what kind of got you interested in this field to begin with.
So growing up, I actually grew up a lot around the media because my dad is in the music business, and I always kind of thought I was going to go the anchor person or journalist route. And so my first 2 years at San Diego State were all journalism, PR classes, things to prep me for that major. And 2 years in, I'm kind of realizing that profession's kind of dying down a little bit. And yeah. I found that I wasn't as passionate about it as I thought I was going to be. So I sat there, I thought to myself, well, what do I like to do? And what interests me? And actually, your show, The First 48, was something that I always watched. And I was like, you know what? I really love investigating. And I don't have anybody in my family who's in the military or law enforcement, so I'm not familiar with anything. So 20-year-old me decides to walk up to a random police officer in one of our cities. And I'm like, hey, how do I become a detective? Like, how do I go that route? And they were like, oh, you got to be an officer first. You got to go through the academy, and then you got to go, you have to do your time, and then you have to be selected and all that. So I was like, okay, let me get on a ride along. So I got on a ride along with San Diego PD, and I fell in love with it. I never thought I was going to be like an adrenaline junkie or anything like that, but it was like so exciting the whole time. I was like, man, this is something I would love to do for work. So I made the switch. My family at first thought I was crazy because they were like, you do realize they run towards the emergencies. And I'm like, yes. Yeah. So it actually it brought out a whole nother side of me that I didn't think I had in me. Like even my dad was like, I don't know. And then once I got hired by the sheriff's office, went through the academy, it was like, okay, I surprised myself.
Yeah. And you got to start out in, you did work in the jail, and the jail, that's what a place to work.
Yes.
I still ask myself, I don't know that I could do it. I mean, day in and day out, it's really a tough place to work.
It is. And I was kind of backwards because typically most deputies, they start off in the jails and then they go out to the streets if they're a patrol trained deputy. I actually since I worked for MTS, the trolley, I was doing patrol first. Because that entity only does the trolleys and the buses. So I was learning to contact the public and learning how to write reports and things like that. And then when I went into the jail, it's a totally different environment. And yeah, I definitely, I think my experience at MTS definitely prepared me for working in the jails. But
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah, for
definitely
sure.
felt like a more well-rounded deputy when I got there. So
Well,
yeah.
I mean, I think also that considering communication is your ability to communicate with the public is your number one skill in the world of law enforcement, period. You know, it's the most important. I think it is. And so, that set the stage for you. And if you were already kind of studying journalism and stuff like that, you were well on your way, I'm sure, to be able to communicate with people. So you get on there and you start out and you know, kind of tell us about that the first, you started at empty or working the transit system, but then you go on and then you go to the jail. And then from there, what you worked in that unit that deals with elder abuse, right? And then, so what were you doing in there? Were you actually investigating cases?
No, so I was just a detentions deputy for 7 years. I was a
Okay.
corporal and a trainer for 4 of those years.
Mhm.
I worked on our tactical team. I helped with like our facility improvement team because I actually worked at a new facility, a brand new women's jail. I was the first academy to go to that facility. So I got to kind of learn it along with my TO at the time. And, you know, it's a 45-acre facility, is huge and like state of the art and really nice. Only houses women. And
Yeah.
it's San Diego's main booking facility for females. So I did that for 7 years, and I basically met my husband, decided, you know what, I want to have a more normal schedule. I knew I wanted to have kids, have a family. And so I kind of started doing research into what other positions are out there. And, you know, just 7 years back and forth, the way that our deputies' schedules work is they're on graveyard shift for 3 months, and then they rotate to day shift for 3 months. So it's back and forth, back and forth. And by that seventh year, my body was feeling it basically. So
Yeah.
I decided, let me see what else is out there. And what a lot of people don't realize when they think about law enforcement, they think it's just people in the uniform, but the sheriff's office has 5,000 employees, and actually a majority of them are professional staff, which a lot of people don't know that. I didn't really know that. So
Hmm.
my friend was a crime prevention specialist, and she was new in that position. She told me about it. She was like, I work with the public a lot. I go out and I do these assessments for security and things like that. So I was like, okay, that sounds interesting. And so there happened to be an opening at one of our patrol stations. I applied for it. I interviewed, and within 2 weeks, I was starting there. And it was such a huge shift for me at first, because I'd never worked at a patrol station, at least with the sheriff's office. And it was just completely new to me. Thankfully, I had a partner who was able to kind of train me and teach me, but I had no idea at that point,
Hmm.
kind of like the can of worms, if you will, that the crime prevention world was going to open up for me, because there's so much in
Oh,
the crime prevention scope.
yeah, you know, I sat through that entire conference. I'm kind of selfish like that, where I will generally try to sit through, even if I'm speaking. I'm not one of those speakers that flies in and flies out and I'm out. You know, I like to absorb as much knowledge as I can. And the one
Yeah.
thing that was fascinating to me, Chloe, was that the amount of stuff, first of all, how serious everybody takes it. They take it very serious. And just the amount of activities and hustling around and doing whatever you can do to have that interaction with the public, to build trust, to there was things I'm sitting on my phone as you guys are mentioning things, and I'm like, does the Tulsa Police Department do National Night Out? And I know that's ignorant of me to think that we didn't, but I was like, I know I've heard of it. Do we do that? And yeah, of course we do. We do all this trunk or treat and all this other jazz.
Mm-hmm.
So what is National Night Out actually? Because that's one of the biggies, right? So just explain
Yes.
what that is and some of the other ones.
So National Night Out is kind of in our unit what we call the Super Bowl of events for the year. It takes so much planning and behind the scenes. A lot of people don't realize, especially like we invite the specialized units to come, and they don't realize how much prep has gone into it. So
Mm-hmm.
just speaking on our agency, so there's 13 different patrol stations in San Diego County. So it's a huge county. Each station is responsible for hosting their own National Night Out event. It's always the first Tuesday of August, and it's usually in the evenings. And it's a family friendly, fun event. It's whatever you want to make it. And that's what I love about the crime prevention world is you get to be really creative. So we've had military come and have set up like obstacle courses. We've had bounce houses. We've had live music. We've had a DJ. So we basically pick a venue in our beat area that we like, that we think would be a good spot. And we invite every single community partner that we have a relationship with. So whether that's Target or Chick-fil-A or Dollar Tree or just whatever it is, we ask them to basically come and set up a booth, and if they can provide something to give to the community. For us personally, we don't have a budget for this event. Some agencies do. Some agencies get up to like $10,000 for this event. It's a lot. Yeah. Some of the smaller agencies around us do, but for us, we have to be really creative. And so it's kind of that verbal judo of, hey, what can you give back to the community with the community partners? And throughout the year, we're spending time kind of like establishing those relationships. So that way, when it's time to plan, it's really easy. And, you know, Target's like, of course, I'll bring school supplies. They gave out backpacks one year. It was great.
Yeah, it is.
And Chick-fil-A will bring, you know, lemonade, and 7-Eleven will bring tons of snacks. But as the crime prevention specialist, you're kind of doing all the administrative work. So you have to get really organized. It's a lot of like spreadsheets and contacting people, a lot of emails, and keeping track of things, because the day of, you know, everyone turns to you. What are we doing? And you have to definitely coordinate with everybody else in your station and let them know what you need from them, because they don't realize typically how much work goes into it. I know the last year I did National Night Out, we actually decided to have a full-on photo booth for families. And again, because I was limited on budget, my captain did approve for us to buy a Polaroid camera. I went into Canva, I made tons of props, I laminated them, I took popsicle sticks and I hot glue gunned them into little frames, and I made like 75 of them. And then I had like the library donate some crafting supplies to me. And, you know, I made coloring pages in Canva, printed them out, had like a whole craft station. And we had a deputy there that could, you know, take a picture with the kids. They had their Polaroid, they got to keep that, and then they got to decorate their frames. So that was really fun. So just little things like that we come up with. And of course, you know, we are provided with swag. So we always bring all of our sheriff's swag. And usually for that event, the command is pretty good about getting us anything special that we want to order for National Night Out, just because we know it's like the Super Bowl of events.
Yeah.
So.
And that's good. And it's necessary to do that, to, you know, like I said, it's all about building those relationships with the public. It really is. And a lot of people probably look forward to that all year. I mean, that's an event that people probably are return guests and so forth. So, and that's good that they provide a lot of swag, because swag's always fun, and that's what it's all about. So, are you guys doing trunk or treat? Is that something that happens tomorrow night, and it's going to keep you guys busy?
Yeah, so a lot of our crime prevention specialists have already had some Halloween events that have happened throughout the last week. One of our specialists at the stations, she hosts her own Fright Night at the station, and she is so creative. She makes like a haunted house basically out of the station, and has like a full-on maze that the kids come through. And she has like a Frankenstein that's wearing like a sheriff's deputy uniform shirt. It's so cool. So the specialists just get really, really creative, and they kind of do their own thing, or they're invited usually to like a trunk or treat that maybe a local church is hosting, or just like a local organization. So yeah, they've been very busy. My position currently doesn't do as much community engagement as I did before when I was at the stations. So I do kind of miss that, but I have the ability to pop in and help out if I need to.
Yeah. And the kids know that the candy's safe, you know, because and I think that's really what it's about. Because when I was a kid growing up in Los Angeles in the 70s, I remember my parents going, all right, get the candy out. We've got to inspect it, because I hate to even say this, but I mean, they were looking for like razor blades and
Yeah.
I mean, it was great. Nowadays, my gosh, you got to be worried about fentanyl. I mean,
So many
honestly,
things. Yeah.
I know. And
Yeah,
so, cause you just never know.
we just put out because we do weekly campaigns on our social media, and this week is actually Halloween safety. So I made sure to get all those locations from our specialists, and I basically put out, here's some safe locations to trick or treat. And
Mhm.
we actually put out a public service announcement about the mislabeling of THC products. That was something we just put out, how they kind of disguise things to look like candy. So just kind of warning the parents to inspect the candy, double check, maybe
Yeah.
for razor blades too, but also for
Well,
for other things
I really,
now that are added in.
I hope those days are gone. But last year when we were kind of walking around, I was really kind of shocked as to how many people were out walking, and I thought kind of Halloween had somewhat died down a little bit, but apparently not. I mean, I know it depends upon the weather. The weather's always good where you're living, but here, sometimes if it gets really cold, then we don't have any problems with it. But yeah, Halloween, it's kind of that's what we would look for, and all the popcorn balls and all that stuff that would be straight to the trash. We never had those.
Oh yeah, anything homemade. My parents, same thing. They would just toss it.
Never. So out of all of these, so you guys have events through the year. I mean, it's just a constant thing for you. What are some other events that you guys kind of put together?
So actually, 2 weeks ago, the County Board of Supervisors presented our entire unit with a proclamation for the month of October, because October is Crime Prevention Month. And we hosted over 250 community events last year. So that was something that was put on to the proclamation, because community engagement is a huge priority of the sheriff's office. The sheriff is really big on that. So different events that we have, we have your standard coffee with the community where you can come out to Starbucks and engage in casual conversation with some of our deputies. We also have ice cream with a deputy. That was something that I hosted with Chick-fil-A. And then last year on 7-Eleven, I partnered with 7-Eleven and did Slurpee with the deputy. So that was cool. We just get creative. We see what community organizations want to work with us and just how we can team up to give back to the public. We always try and provide something at our community events, whether that's coffee or an ice cream or whatever. That's the biggest priority is giving back to our communities. So there's those type of events. We also, when I started my time as a crime prevention specialist, catalytic converter theft was a big thing out here. People were getting them stolen left and right. And so myself and one other girl, we became part of this working group between different agencies, and we hosted engraving events. So we would partner with Honda or Ford or any other like mom and pop shop in the area who wanted to host for us. And we would essentially have a full-on registration. People would make an appointment. They would come that day and they could get their catalytic converter engraved for free. And it was super cool because actually a lot of the deputies were the ones doing the engraving. We had like a nice high-tech engraving machine that we borrowed, and they were doing a lot of the engraving themselves. So those events were really popular. My first one at Honda, we had almost 130 cars come through in maybe 4 hours. So it was a hot topic for a while. We're still doing them, just not as much. And then another thing that we've been really getting into is youth programs. When I first started, there was not a huge accessibility to youth programs. Like there wasn't a lot that the sheriff's office was doing for kids. We have something called the Respect Project that's for high school students, and that's ran by deputies, and that's a great program, but the kids have to be referred. So they either have to be on like probation or like the court will refer them or things like that. So we didn't have a lot for like the public. So we created last year something called Rise Above, and that's for kids aged 9 through 12. And it's an 8-week long program. It's free, and there's dinner provided each week.
Wow.
And the parents can bring any other kids that they have. They have to be present as well. And the 8-week program talks about all sorts of different topics, and it's ran by the deputies at the station. So it's usually like drug prevention. We'll bring the DEA to come in and speak with us on that. It's also like gang, prevention stuff. We talk about bullying. We talk about online safety, things like that with them. And at the end, they get a certificate. They graduate from the program. So meanwhile, while we're doing all that with the kids, we're also separating the parents and we're educating them as well. So we cap it out at 35 kids, so we keep it kind of intimate, but there's different patrol stations that host this twice a year. So
Yeah.
that's
really
been a
cool.
really great program for us.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of, believe it or not, I was a school resource officer for 2 years, and
Okay.
it wasn't anything I ever envisioned in my lifetime, believe me. But I did it for 2 years, and there was 2 chapters. We taught the gang resistance education and training curriculum, which is known as GREAT.
Great.
And
yes.
yeah, have you heard of it?
I have.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's a federal program that they put on, and there was 2 chapters that just jumped out at me when you were talking about, each week you would talk about something that, drug prevention or whatever. And there's 2 chapters that I always loved. One of them was chapter 3, which was called Decisions. And it's just basically making good decisions. And the other one was chapter 5, which was setting realistic goals and, letting these kids know, hey, I know you want to play in the NFL or the NBA, but you got to go to school first. You got to make it on the school team, and you got to stay in school to do it,
Yes.
and that kind of stuff. But no, that's great that you guys are doing that. That's a program I've never heard of. And that's what I was sitting there and I was listening to everybody. Everybody had their own regions, and then they got up. I thought it was a lot of fun. They got up and then they started writing down all the things that they've done throughout the year. And I'm sure that that's a great thing for the other regions to get inspired. Oh my gosh, that's a great idea. We should think about that, and et cetera. Yes. But the amount of work that you guys put into this stuff is incredible. And I don't know that we have I'm trying to think right now, and I should know this. I'm almost embarrassed to say this. I don't know that we have a crime prevention unit per se. I don't know that we do. I'm going to look into that and find out, because I know that these things happen. I don't know how I just figured they just happened. I know that they participate in things like this. So Coffee with a Cop and stuff like that. I thought it was like volunteers that kind of got together, but somebody has to organize it. So
yes,
that's good.
A lot of organizing. But there is also a lot of kind of patrol or law enforcement related things that we do as well. And I know like at the conference, a lot of the units are structured where they have sworn and a crime prevention specialist in the unit. Mm-hmm. Ours is just all professional staff, and we have a manager who's our supervisor. So it's really on us to build those relationships with the deputies. And that's a priority for me when I get to a new station, because it makes all the difference, especially when there's different ways that we can help them with certain things.
Yeah, I think that if you're listening to this, and if somebody wanted to become a crime prevention specialist, and I know requirements are probably different throughout the country, but I'm sure everything from high school diploma, what is required for you? Is a bachelor's degree actually a requirement for that position?
It is for us. And then it's also 6 months of presentation experience, because not only are we the community event planners, we're also the educators. So mm-hmm. when there's requests from senior living facility that wants to learn about scams, that's what I did when I was at fraud and elder abuse. I would go out to different nursing homes and things, and I would basically do hour-long presentation on scams and fraud. So you definitely have to be a good speaker, which is kind of funny for me to say, because I used to hate public speaking. And honestly, I think everybody does at some point or to some extent. Mm-hmm. but the more you do it and the more you learn about your material, it just gets,
Oh,
I mean,
it's
for
fun.
me, it's not even like it's just, it comes naturally because now
Yeah.
I know so much about the position and I truly
Hmm.
love it. So,
Yeah.
we're the educators. So you definitely have to be comfortable with that fact that you'll be putting together presentations, and just good organization skills. That's something
Yeah.
that our manager looks for. She looks for people, if you have outreach experience, that's also a plus. We actually have a vacancy, so we just they just closed it. So HR said there's 35 people for one position. So we're really excited about that,
Yeah, that is
that are
good.
going to interview. So yeah.
Great, great. That's good because you want the best of the best, and hopefully it's a really tough decision, that you have such great candidates and so forth. But that's
Right.
good that you got 35 people that are interested. And but just I'm sure that there's places where if you wanted to be involved in law enforcement, but yet you didn't really want to go through the academy. You didn't want to do all that other nonsense, and you didn't really want to carry a gun and work nights and all this other jazz. Then you could. I mean, this is another option in the world of law enforcement, in the criminal justice world, to
Yes.
consider to be. I mean, you're really entrenched and involved in with the police, not only with the police but with the community, and I think that's great. So, do you guys have
Definitely.
the thing during the conference that came up that I was a little bit I was really kind of fascinated by it, and it was McGruff, the crime dog, and go ahead and show that video real quick, Amanda, just to remind.
That's Jenny, but that's not Jenny's dad. If she gets into that car, you may be looking at Jenny for the last time. I'm McGruff, the crime dog. Let me show you something. See that playground? A lot of kids there. Every day in this country, 60 kids disappear. Some run away, but a lot are kidnapped by strangers or even by people they know. Almost 20,000 kids a year. 20,000 kids. One kid at a time, maybe your kid, on your street, just like Jenny. You know, your kids can learn to protect themselves against crime at home, at school, on the street. Very nice going, Jenny. She's going to tell her folks about this. And you can write to McGruff. Learn how to keep your family and your community safe and help take a bite out of crime.
The Sunday Morning Funny starring Laurel and
They have revamped that campaign, and they've totally revamped it. Believe it or not, Chloe, I was the McGruff crime dog while I was a school resource officer. I literally would wear the outfit, and it was a lot of fun. But they revamped that program, and if you go and you can just type in McGruff crime dog, you can find their website. They've actually got a YouTube page that I was impressed by. They're starting a podcast. I'm going to encourage people to check it out. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of great material on there. But what I liked about it most was the fact that they have a lot of resources that are on there for you for free, that you could get on there, pamphlets, brochures, whatever it is. I don't exactly know, but I know that they've got a lot of stuff like that. And so are you involved in that program at all with San Diego County?
So McGruff is kind of an older thing, like the video shows. So when I first came to the unit, we have the costume at 2 of our stations. It has very specific requirements. You have to be like a certain height to wear it and all of that. But it's used by some of our specialists. It just depends if they're going to go talk to a school, and maybe an elementary school, they'll take it. And they'll utilize it during their safety presentations, but we're not super heavily involved in it. Although I know my manager, she was inspired because she was with me at the conference when they showed kind of the revamped McGruff, because all those free resources that are available to us, those are things that our specialists could print and take. And I know that they have swag too. So that's something that we've definitely looked into. My boss and I, though, have talked about the idea of creating our own mascot here in the San Diego Sheriff's Office. So
Yeah.
we're still kind of brainstorming that. But there's been talks of creating kind of our own mascot that's similar.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just think that thing took off back then. I think that video was probably from like 1980. And I know that I know like 80 or 81, I think is what they said.
I love that
and
last sound bite, the take a bite out of crime.
Yeah, I know. And it just took off. And it was just something that the moment you heard it on there, you were always watching as a kid. It just
Yes.
grabbed you, and it's kind of cool that they're revamping it and bringing it back. And they're really tapping into the social media. So that's what I really want to talk to you about now is I want to dive into the social media, the job that you have now. Is it that social media position? Is that the new job you got?
Yes.
So tell us what that is and how did you get involved in that?
Yeah, so our media unit has about 6 people in it. So for such a large county, we're a pretty small unit. One of the media relations officers, she had to take a leave. And so about a year ago, they asked me if I wanted to help out with social media. And right away I was like, sure. I have my own personal pages that I've been using for years. I used MySpace back in the day and Zanga and all those other social media sites. So I kind of jumped in and I started off as an intern. I was actually going on my days off and putting in 6-7 hours just to prep my content. And it was like a sink or swim. It was like, here's all the account logins and good luck. And at the time, the sheriff's office didn't have a Facebook. So I was just running Instagram at that time. And we also run Nextdoor as a crime prevention specialist too. So after about a year, or actually 6 months, they were like, you can't intern anymore. Your time's capped out. So my boss, she did an amazing thing. And they wrote a staff study about how beneficial it would be to have a crime prevention specialist in the media unit. And they changed the title of the position. And, I applied for it and interviewed, and it was great. I already had so much experience from my internship that I was able to bring and a portfolio. I took us up on Instagram almost 10,000 followers in my time that I was there. We actually had a viral video on our page, so that helped us a lot.
What's viral in your world? Is that like millions?
So viral is considered over 100,000 views, which is kind of easy to do nowadays, because we've had some videos that are in the 200,000-300,000 range, just depending on what it is. But this video has close to 1 million views, so it's definitely viral, and it's so simple. We literally, because San Diego, they take their Mexican food very seriously. So we literally went and we polled deputies, what is their favorite taco shop? And we asked them to say like what neighborhood it's in or what area, because we knew that was going to get a lot of engagement in the comments. And so people were arguing back and forth. And then I asked the last person to say Taco Bell at the end. And that just really, and he said it in such a funny way that really kind of blew up the video also. Like, oh my gosh, the Taco Bell guy, that's awesome. So that video, it's like, I've learned in my time here that like sometimes they just want to see really simple things that humanize the badge a little bit and just remind people that deputies are people too. So this position, I'm kind of like the liaison to the rest of my crime prevention unit. So if they need like a flyer for a coffee event, or if they need a PowerPoint, I'll help them with that. I do a lot of like graphics and visuals, and I create like assets for different campaigns too for them. So it just depends. Like we have a girl who's assigned to the fraud and elder abuse unit, and a lot of our scams brochures are a little bit outdated, or they haven't even been created. We just have ideas of brochures that we want to put together. So those are things that I help out with. So besides that, it's Nextdoor, it's Instagram, and then we got Facebook back in July. So if you're in San Diego and you're not following us on Facebook, please do, because it's a new thing for us. And we're just reaching a whole nother audience with it.
Well,
So
and I'll tell you what, you can generate a lot of money with it too, to tell you the truth. And I had Sheriff Mark Lamb on here from Pinell County, Arizona. You might have seen him on Live PD or 60 Days In. I mean, because he ran a season of 60 Days In, and he came on here and he was mentioning how much money that generated for their agency. It's insane. It literally is insane. We're talking tens of thousands of dollars a month in because of views, because of and things like that. And we're talking on YouTube and all of these different platforms. And I don't see how that's a negative thing. I mean, what a revenue stream for your events that you guys are looking into. And I don't see how that would be I don't think that it's really a conflict. It's basically it's there. And if you guys are putting fun videos up there and so forth and things to kind of humanize, just like what you said, I don't see any issue with it, kind of a deal. So
yeah, that's impressive. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking lots of money, Chloe, lots of money. Wow. And so much so that, well, I mean, he's one of those guys that he saw the vision of that back then. He's like, hey, why aren't we using this and making money with it? I mean, my gosh. And if you watch my episode that I did with him, he talks about it. So it might be a good episode for you to check out just to see how he talks about it. Yeah. Something to consider. You'd be a hero in San Diego with, that would solve some revenue issues. But, anyway, so you do that. And so you said Nextdoor, Instagram, and Facebook. Are those the only three right now? Okay.
So
how do we find it?
We do have YouTube as well.
Okay.
And we also do have X. X is actually one of or Twitter, what it used to be, is probably our biggest platform, but our media relations officer kind of manages that one for the most part. Mm-hmm. I'll post some things on there. It just depends, but X is where it's like a source of information for some people. So if there's a wildfire or things, updates will be on X, although I've kind of taken Facebook into that direction as well. So when there's wildfires happen here, far too often in San Diego, and that's something that we have to push the evacuation information out to the public.
That's right.
So we definitely use Facebook for that as well. And then Nextdoor, we have about 380,000 people countywide that are on our Nextdoor page. So if we need something to get blasted out to the whole county, that's a good way as well. But how to find them all of our handles are SD Sheriff. And then the Facebook page is San Diego County Sheriff's Office. So that's how you can find us and follow us.
Good. Yeah, that's great. And I'm sure that maybe you guys have even considered TikTok. I'm telling you, I never really thought about TikTok until I freaking exploded on this thing. Like after 2 weeks, I was like, this is so cool that all these people are watching stuff. But so you're doing that. I mean, how do you deal? Just out of curiosity, I know that you get some trolls that get on there and just blast stuff. I mean, are you able to? Because I really don't know how all that works when you're talking about a police department. Are you able to delete those messages that are just crazy ones?
No. So it's like a First Amendment violation to delete their comments, or essentially like kind of silence them. So we can't block anybody. We can't delete them. We have our usual, trolls that comment on our stuff. And it's, the sheriff is an elected position, so it gets political. There's a lot of views with different things, a lot of different opinions. And so when we put out statements and news releases and things like that, we have to kind of expect that. They want me to monitor in case it's anything like crazy, but for the most part, we just kind of let them sit there and they're just there in the comments. Sometimes the platforms will hide their comments, which is kind of funny. It'll automatically do that. So if the platform does that, yes. So if Instagram or Facebook deems it's like inappropriate or against their like rules, they'll hide it. So it's not visible when you stream through the comments. So that can happen. We just can't delete them ourselves.
Yeah, that's good. Actually, I'm glad to hear that they do that. That's one thing
Yes.
that I'm glad to hear that they do. So, yeah. Anyway, so you do that, and that's like this is the wave of the future, ladies and gentlemen. If you didn't know, she said something at the beginning of this where her dad's in the media business, and in the media business, man, I mean, people don't watch the news. They just don't watch it like they used to. That's rare. The numbers that of people sitting around watching the 5 o'clock news is it's pretty small nowadays. People get their news from their phone. That's what they're doing nowadays. So, so what are you doing also well, I'm sure you just put that all out there and everybody wants to follow their police department for the most part. What's the population of San Diego County? Roughly
3 million. Yeah.
Okay. So you got
3 to 4
10,
million. Yes.
you got a 10 or 12% of the population that's actually following you. That's pretty good. So that's really good. And
yes. We're a huge county.
You are a huge county. Do you know the land area? Because it's probably bigger than some states.
I believe so. I think we are the second largest county in California.
Wow.
If I'm not
it's
mistaken.
a huge area.
Second or third. Yeah.
Yeah, that's huge.
And population wise, I mean, we're up there with LA and San Francisco.
Yeah. So what's your advice to somebody that if they were really wanting to get involved in this industry and, because, being a cop is not for everybody. And I'm not saying that you weren't good at it. You were probably great at it, doing that kind of stuff, but it's not for everybody, obviously. But they want to be involved. What would you recommend to them to get involved in this job? And I'm sure it pays pretty good too, actually. So
do your research, look into different things. I know for us, if you are interested, if you're in San Diego, if you go to joinsdsheriff.net, there's a lot of information about the different positions, but there's even nurses in our department. There's people in the medical field. We have mental health clinicians because they have to work the detention facilities. So if you're a nurse and you're looking for a really well-paying job, the sheriff's office is it. And we have psychiatrists. If you want to go the dispatch route, that's great. We also have crime and intel analysts, and that's a great career path too. I know for me, since I was so interested in investigating, someone who's interested in that as well, that's a great field to get into. They are also monitoring social media, but from a different standpoint, and they're helping the detectives, their support for the area detectives. They put out bolos. They help with downloading phones, things like that. So if you're into investigating, crime and intel analyst is that route for you if you don't want to go the sworn way. We have records, we have licensing. We have a unit that is fully dedicated to redacting crime reports and body-worn camera footage, because in California, there is a law where people can just request that. They can request for reports to be released and things, and there's a whole unit of people that just redact things all day. So there's a lot. I would definitely say, do your research, ask your local department if you can come and meet with someone or shadow them for a few hours or just learn more about their position. I mean, I know if I had heard about crime prevention maybe earlier in my career, I might have switched sooner just because I am a people person. So I love being able to go out and talk to people. Not that I didn't like my time in the jail. That taught me how to talk to people as well, but in a different way, in different aspects. Yeah, you're right. Well, if you can talk to people there, you can talk to anybody, really. Yes, and so, I like that because that's the prerequisite, ladies and gentlemen. If you're at home going, man, that really sounds great. But if you're not a people person, that's not going to be for you. You've got to be a people person, and not all cops are people persons. I can tell you right now, they're not. Agreed. You have to be somebody that's able to interact with the public, enjoys speaking, and isn't speaking fun? Isn't it just a blast? Yes, it is. It is when things go well. So, and I'll tell you, I'm going to recommend something else too, just for people that are listening. If you happen to be involved in the crime prevention world, you might want to consider going to their conference. They've got a conference coming up next year in Lake Tahoe. It's going to be at Margaritaville in Lake Tahoe, California. If you're from another association outside of California, I don't see any reason why you couldn't sign up and
and go. And I know that Washington joined you guys for this last conference, Washington
Yes.
State. And anyway, I think it's great. Any other projects that you guys are working on that are really innovative and cool that you'd like to share?
Just something that someone who doesn't know anything about crime prevention might not know is something that we do. That's actually a big part of our job is CPTED. And I don't know, Jason, if you're familiar, it's crime prevention through environmental design. So we actually get sent to a 5-day course that is taught by there's like a National Institute of Crime Prevention, and this guy is like the CPTED guru. He basically invented it. So basically what it is we go out for free to businesses, homes, vacant lots. It could be anything in our cities, and we conduct a security assessment, and we look at ways to make that specific site a more difficult target for anybody who wants to commit a crime there. So like, for example, if somebody's having issues with break-ins happening, we might look at lighting, and we look at other like environmental factors. Does this person have cameras? Do they have signs saying no trespassing, things like that? So we actually write a full report. We take photos. We'll do it at somebody's home as well. And that's a free service that the sheriff's office offers to the public. And a lot of people don't know about it. Yes.
Wow. I've never heard of it.
A lot of people don't know about it. And I would spend a lot of my time, especially when I was a younger crime prevention specialist, I would read all the case reports. And if somebody had their home broken into, I would call the victim and I would say, hey, do you want me to come out and do this assessment for you for free? And they always were like, oh, wow, I never heard of that, or I didn't know that was a thing. And, you know, I'll go out there and meet with the 70-year-old lady who's had, you know, her home broken into twice and, you know, give her some recommendations. And we write like a full report. We do a lot of those for churches because I know that there's vulnerability assessments that our office does too. But you know, we just do a lot of the security assessments for them. So that's a great thing. And then of course, neighborhood watch meetings. That's another big component of our job. We try to be proactive and see like what neighborhoods are having a lot of crime or issues. And then we'll try and reach out to someone in that area and we'll see if they're interested in starting one. And usually we run the first meeting for them. I run the calls for service for that area for the last 6 months. I look and see what's going on. I kind of dig into all the cases that have been happening. And then I kind of tailor my meeting based on what I'm seeing. So if there's a lot of identity theft going on in one area, I'll talk about identity theft and scams and things like that at the neighborhood watch. So we just try and educate the public as much as possible. And like I said before, those assessments, a lot of people don't know about them. And there's so much training. There's so much training behind that. I went to the 5-day course and then I went to the advanced course, which is another 3 days. So, and having the background in being in law enforcement, writing the reports, you know, wasn't so bad, but that's also a component of it as well.
Yeah. Furthermore, I'll mention something, a little bit of a caveat on top of that. And I don't know, it depends upon your location throughout this country, but also neighborhood watch associations can purchase flock cameras too. And let me tell you something, that stamps it out, ladies and gentlemen. Flock cameras, it stops them in their tracks and it helps us solve those cases. Trust me. And if you get a neighborhood association that puts them on the entrance points of your neighborhoods, that stuff stops in a hurry. So like I said,
I've had neighborhoods where they have LPRs set up at their gates and I'm like, that's awesome.
Or those. So, yeah, absolutely. Yes. Those right there in and of themselves, I didn't even think about. That's probably even cheaper. But yeah, that's good. So any final thoughts, any final things that you'd like to share with people in reference to the innovations, things that are, you know, coming up, things that you think are, you know, on the horizon that's going to be unleashed to the communities?
No, I mean, just for me, the last 4 years, this profession has just evolved. When I first started, it was mainly the CPTED assessments, the neighborhood watch, the commercial security consultations, kind of the more like administrative side of things, and it's really evolved into this community outreach position. And I know for a while there were talks of even changing our title here to like community engagement specialist or something like that, community outreach, just because that is 70% probably of our jobs now. So like you mentioned, definitely have to be a people person, and it's fantastic. It's a lot of fun. I don't feel like I'm working, so that's always a great feeling.
That's fun to go to work.
It never feels
when
like
you enjoy
work.
it.
If it's your passion, it never feels like work. So
that's right. Have you noticed a difference in the community interaction with the police since you guys have really kind of upped your game and you're doing all this extra stuff?
Definitely. That's actually a huge passion of mine, to bridge that gap, because just for personal reasons, I've known, people that really are against law enforcement, and I like to go and change their perspectives on things. A lot of people don't realize the resources that we offer that are free to the public. And we've had businesses that are not necessarily LE friendly, law enforcement friendly, and I've gone there and I've sat and talked with them, and then they end up becoming a national night out partner later on.
Really? No kidding.
Yes. So when I have gotten to a patrol station, I kind of, take the time to figure out, where those communities are that may not trust us. And a lot of the times I'm going to have all my events there on purpose, all my coffee with the communities, all those different things, and just really try and get people to come out and just talk to us. And I think after they have that one positive interaction, and especially I've heard a lot, like, because I'm not in a uniform, that makes a big difference. I do have a polo that I will wear, but sometimes I'm just in regular clothes, and people have told me that makes a big difference for them, that their first interaction with somebody from the sheriff's office was in normal clothes and wasn't in any uniform, and it made them feel more comfortable. So a lot of the times that makes it easier at these community events. And then they kind of feel more comfortable talking to the deputies, after. So we've seen a big difference for sure. Personally. Yeah. I've seen that.
Hey, Amanda, throw that picture up with the dogs, that dog pic you're talking about. So what's going on here?
So this was at CCPOA last year in Sonoma. This is a great program that the Garden Grove PD started. They're a nonprofit organization for emotional support dogs and wellness dogs. This is something that we're really interested in bringing to San Diego. We have one in our wellness unit, but these dogs go out in the public. They would go with like the SROs to the schools, and the kids are so happy to see them. So they go to community events, they do all this stuff. So I thought their swag was so adorable, the little dog stuffed animals. And since they're fundraising, they're a nonprofit. They have all those items available for purchase. So that's how we ended up in that picture. That was at CCPOA last year. Yeah.
No, that's cool. That's really cool. All right. So, God, there was another question I had real quick and I just forgot it. What was it? Yeah, that's interesting. That other project that you were just talking about, about what was that last one you were just mentioning it before the dog picture? I lost my train of thought.
Potentially the the assessments.
Yeah, I think that's fascinating that you guys are doing that. I don't know that we're doing that, but that's something that I'm definitely going to mention on our department. Yeah, and then
Oh, sorry.
No, that's my fault. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I've ended up like, if you work for a contract city, we've had like the city, or like Tulsa, for example, we've had the city reach out to us and have us do assessments of, rec centers. We had a huge amphitheater in the city that I worked in Vista, and they were really wanting like a vulnerability assessment too, in case like a critical incident happened there. So we brought, we have actually a unit of deputies that's what they do. That's their full-time jobs. So they're kind of like almost like a threat assessment group in a way. And they came out with me to do that assessment. So yeah, it's great. Those are definitely a hidden gem, if you will. A lot of people don't know about them.
If you're a company, and if there's a company that's listening, or somebody that owns a business or whatever, and they were like, hey, you know what, that's a great idea, where do they go to donate money to your efforts?
To donate money, we don't accept donations. Our office doesn't. But as far as if they're interested in the service and the assessments, they can just go on, for us in San Diego, sdsheriff.gov, and then they'll find a list of all our patrol stations, and they just have to get in contact with their closest patrol station and just ask to talk to the crime prevention specialist.
So I mean, if they're a business, they could still donate like lemonade, like you said, and things like that to events and stuff like that. Okay, that's good to know. Or even
drop off things for us at the station too, and it's very nice. Always a very nice gesture.
Like I'd heard one of the other agencies in California was talking about just pallets of water. You know, the things that that stuff is great to be able to take in. Listen, Chloe, I've really enjoyed this. I think that this is an area of law enforcement that a lot of people don't realize the inner workings of it. I think that they've heard of National Night Out, maybe they've heard of the Trunk or Treat, of course. I think that's great what you guys are doing. You're making a huge difference to the people that are. I'm curious, what are some of the reasons that a business would be anti-police? I mean, what would be that reason? Just a bad experience in the past with them, maybe, or?
I would think so. Probably, a bad experience, or maybe a slow response time to something that they didn't like, and a lot of it too is education as well. Just,
That's right.
Not understanding that dispatch prioritizes calls and things like that. So that's when I come in and try and talk to them and change their minds.
Yeah. And actually the two most powerful words in the English language for the police is "I'm sorry." And be sincere about it. You know what I mean? All you got to do is you got to mean it. So one of the things that I did when I go all over the country, I have people sign my tags, and I got 2 new tags to put on my wall from North Carolina and California. And like I said, I'm going to bring another one when I see you. I'll see you again. Hopefully you're going to be in Lake Tahoe. I hope to see you there.
I believe so. Since I'm on the board, I believe I will be going.
Great.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been. Any final thoughts, Chloe? I appreciate you so much.
Really happy that I was able to share a little bit about.
Oh my gosh, I think it's great.
Yes.
I think it's great. If you. Oh, my pleasure. You are definitely one of the types of people that I like to have on here. People that are actually making a difference in the world, and you're making a positive difference in the world of law enforcement. And you're perfect. I think this is going to be great. I know a lot of people are going to love it. And ladies and gentlemen, this show is not a show without you. I promise you that. And I appreciate everybody that tunes in, from Spotify to Apple to YouTube and every other Rumble, every other outlet. Listen, I want this show to be number one, and on this network anyway, KGRA Digital Broadcasting. We've got to put out a special thanks to them. And remember to check out the other shows, Briefing with the Chief and iDetective. And if you're looking for additional stuff, you can go to my YouTube page, Detective Jason White. And when you go there, guess what? Hit the subscribe button. It takes you less than 30 seconds to do. Click it, because it changes the algorithm and it helps me out. All right. So don't worry. I'm not getting rich. Remember to like and subscribe. Go do it. And you can check out this is episode number 74. You can check out all of the other epic guests from the list is just long. A lot of people from California, actually. Lots of detectives from there. Gil Carrillo, the Night Stalker detective, he's on there. A lot of epic people. Check it out. I appreciate everybody being here. I want everybody to have and look into this organization. Check out their website, the California Crime Prevention Officers Association. They've really, I've never been to one of these organizations before, but I'll tell you what, I was really impressed with, like I said, the people that were there. They took it very serious. And they had some good classes and stuff, and it kept my attention. So I think it's great what they're doing, and I think this is a needed entity in law enforcement to just build those relationships and build bridges and et cetera. To those people that are naysayers on the cops, and I get this question a lot, oh man, you guys are all bad, yada, 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 all that stuff. And I always ask them, I'm like, okay, so when have you heard of my name out on the streets? And they're like, well, I haven't heard it. Well, that's right. And if I was one of those idiots out there, and we've got them too. Everybody's got them, believe me. But if I was out there just railroading people all the time, believe me, you'd know my name in 5 minutes in a lot of those communities. So most cops are not bad. Trust me. So anyway, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you all for being here. Check out all of my social media outlets, Facebook, Detective Jason White, Instagram, TikTok. Make TikTok. I want it to continue to explode, please. Make my videos go viral. I got a lot of great videos on there and so forth. And like I said, everybody, I appreciate it very much. Have a very safe Halloween. Watch your kids and keep an eye out on them and so forth. And until next time, I think next week we're going to have episode number 75. That'll be November the 7th. And that's supposed to be Amanda Owens, who that's the sister of a no body homicide that I had, where her sister was tragically kidnapped and killed, and it has never been found. But it's a no body prosecution, and it's going to be an inside look with the sister, and hopefully she's going to be able to be here, and it'll be a really good episode as well. Thank you again, Chloe. We're going to be friends for life. I appreciate you. And until next week, take us out, Amanda.